Martin, another good test today against National League side Boreham Wood. What did you make of it?
I think we gave them a good game. It's disappointing when you're 2-0 up not to carry it on through, but it's still pre-season and the result doesn't count for too much except the feeling in the camp. I think the feeling in the camp is probably we should have been a bit better off at half-time. The own goal came at a bad time for us. And then of course we made the changes later on, and it's always difficult to integrate young players, but Marvin's doing very well and did well again, and it was great to see Luke Allen come on, and we know he's a very good player. So yeah, I mean, it's been a good week really, to go to Bromley, won the FA Trophy, and then beat another National League team here in Barnet, and give Boreham Wood, who remember played at Everton in the FA Cup last season. So we've got massive respect for Luke and his players, and you look at their team sheet and you think, well, they're still very, very strong, and I'm sure they'll do well in the league above us. But it's about getting it right for us, and we're disappointed with the 2 goals we conceded, but pleased with the way that we created a bit more. And obviously the first 2 games against EFL clubs, difficult to create, but now we've started to score goals, and that's obviously very important.
Did you find in some ways that it was a game of 2 halves? We seemed to control more of the game in the first half, but second half, Boreham Wood came out with a bit more intensity and controlled the game a bit more.
Yeah, all the players said at half time, we didn't have to tell them really. Expect them now, they've got a goal back, expect them, and they don't want to come here and get beaten. They've got their own priorities in the pre-season. But I thought we coped with it pretty well for the most part, and both goals were avoidable that we conceded, and that's something that we've got to work on, because I think if you look at all the games, we've been authors of our own downfall really. So the players know it. We've got a lot of quality here. I think that's one thing that Douse has told the players really, that we come from a club at a higher level last season and for a couple of seasons, but there's some very, very good players here, and it's just about getting the blend right, getting them fit. And we've had 1 or 2 injuries I think today, but still 2 weeks to go. It can be a long time, but it can fly by, and I think this will fly by. We've got 2 more games to play, but we are in a situation where every day we're learning. I mean, players are learning about Douse, and obviously we're learning about them, but we're delighted with the response we've had so far, and you look at the quality of opposition we've played, so I think we've done okay.
Talking about quality, Samir Carruthers is a player that's seemed to have stood out in the last few games. What have you made of him, and fitting into that role that he's going forward at times, but he can also sit back and dictate the play? Yeah,
I mean, he and Kieran Murtagh are terrific footballers, and they can control matches. What we have to do is find a way of playing when they can't control matches, when the opposition are all over them. And it was interesting hearing, obviously not a very big crowd, to hear what Luke was saying about trying to get Carruthers under control from the Boreham Wood point of view. So he obviously had a real impact. He got a couple of whacks as well, came off. I said, they don't kick bad players, they only kick the good ones, and so it's a compliment to be knocked about a bit. And he's very resilient as well. He's a great character in the dressing room, and he's a very fine footballer, but we have to give him the best platform to show his skills. His skills are considerable.
2 games now remain pre-season before we kick it off at Bath away. What are you expecting from teams like Chatham and Canvey Island, who are lower down in the tier system?
I don't think it's what we're expecting from them, it's what we're expecting from us. We're trying to use the games there are all sorts of factors, looking now a bit more closely on how we might line up in a couple of weeks' time when it really matters. I think some of the players who've only had minutes, either because they're young players making their way into the squad, or they're players who've had injuries, or they're players that we're still trialling. Probably the Chatham game, we might look at it a little bit more like that, but Douse is the manager, and he will have his strong views on that. We haven't spoken about it. Then Canvey, probably most teams will be on the last Saturday before the league season starts. Most teams will probably go with the side that they'd like to start. It can be dangerous, because if it doesn't work, you're back to the drawing board with like 5 or 6 days to go. So that could be the way we go, but I think we'll have to wait and see.